Greetings, citations, ladies and gentlemen. My name is James, aka the Architect, and with me, as always, well, now he's back because he decided to take a week off. Skull Hunter Games, aka Jordan.
I like how, thank you, good to be back. I like how you said I took a week off, and that's not true. But join us as always. It's easily to say always now. We got Joseph in the house. Joseph is ours now. How you doing?
Pretty good. It's good to always be here now.
Yep, you are. You're taking over.
One of us.
You're taking over the podcasting realm. What can I say? You and that.
My loyalty deals in mugs. So.
Oh, just saying. It's not okay, audience. If you're watching, if you're on audio, thank you guys so much. We just hit over 200 listeners last week. Great job, everyone. We're at 222 listeners at the time of recording this. So
that per episode?
No, that's just in general since we started the podcast.
Okay.
So if it was per episode, I really need to start writing out some paychecks. But
milestones, we'll get there.
Exactly. But so if you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube, imagine this, except with a nice podcast logo on it. Like, not gonna lie, guys, that would be nice. It would be nice. We can get there. We can get there one day. But I guess we start this out. It's been a while since it's been on. You guys did a great job. You had Arth on. I was actually upset that you had Arth on. Then you guys talked about Resident Evil. And you talked about PlayStation demo games. I was legitimately, when I was editing the podcast, I was getting so mad. I was like, Arth is here? What? I didn't expect Arth to be there. And it's like, okay, you know what? I'm cool. Oh, you talk about Resident Evil. Okay, you know what? I'm cool. I couldn't be there. I understand. And then PlayStation 1 demo games? Where was I?
That was it.
It was, I was mad.
That tipped you over the edge.
Oh, yeah, that honestly did it, because I was like, that's when I got started. I was here for PlayStation 1. Like, I was alive. And I got to listen to it. I was leaving commentary as I was editing.
Yeah, I peaked last week, so this week's gonna be my. So we'll see what happens. Jordan, how was your week though?
Honestly, it's been good. So I'll just say it really quick. I talked about it on my streams, but my mom and my brother ended up going to the hospital. Mom ended up going because she has an infection. Her liver and kidney are failing a little bit, and she has type 2 diabetes. Now, she has a whole life change she needs to do, but she's handling it like a pro. She is doing much better. She's home now. She's doing what she needs to do. My brother had an allergic reaction to a medication he was taking, so he's doing better. Talked to him today. He's doing great. No more families in the hospital. That's been fantastic. And I got to kind of sit back and play Call of Duty. That wasn't necessary for once. I got to just sit back and camp in a corner with a shotgun. It's been fantastic.
It's awesome. I haven't gotten to sit down and play a video game in like a week now.
Dude, I would say tomorrow, but
But what?
I don't know when I'm going to be home. If I'm home in time, no matter what, we will play. No matter what, we can play. But if I'm home in time for a stream, might be able to do a little stream.
We'll talk logistics afterwards, babe. Don't worry. So, my week was actually pretty boring. It was just work until I got to the weekend. Then I got to go on a little break. I had a couple friends celebrate a huge milestone, their 10th wedding anniversary. They did their vow renewals.
Boo.
So, in this weekend, I did a total of about 24 hours of driving. But I actually wanted to share this funny story with all of you because I found it hilarious, and it's now forever one of those inside jokes that I have with my wife that it's one of those memories that we'll cherish forever. So we drive after work. It's about 5.5 hours from where I live to, it's called Pikeville, Kentucky. They are known for it's called the Landmark Cut Through Project is what it is. It's a giant lookout. Anyway, we get to our hotel room. We check in. It's like 8, 9 o'clock at night, whatever. We check in. We go to lay down. We're just relaxing, right? My wife looks over on the floor, and she goes, James, what's that under the table? And I look, and I just see this little brown thing. I'm like, what is that? I walk over, and for some reason I'm just I don't this is just I think the Neanderthal in me. I just picked it up bare hand before I even determined what it was. They left me a chicken nugget underneath the table of our hotel room.
Chicken nugget?
And so now there's multiple questions, red flags, just going through my head right now. Like, why is there a chicken nugget here? Don't they clean the room? How did they not see a chicken nugget? Am I supposed to eat this? And then, did they leave me a snack? Like, you know how they leave mints
cultural
on the bed?
like custom, or like some hotels they leave like chocolates on the pillows and soap in the washroom.
It's in Kentucky. It's chicken on your floor.
Ooh, we have this fine chicken. It was found on the floor at the nearest garden. Here you go.
But that
I was
was
filling out the form and said, "Do I prefer white meat or dark meat?" And I didn't understand the relevance of it until now.
And what made me mad, it was obviously a McNugget.
Oh.
So you really wanted to eat it because McNuggets are delish.
McNuggets are delish.
No.
But this thing, if I would have thrown this thing against the wall, instead of splattering, I think it would have went right through it. And this thing was harder than a rock.
How long was it there for? Did it
That's
travel
a
there
great
with
question.
you?
That's a great question. Nobody knows.
It was actually in your carry-on. Dude, like how I've had an old chicken nugget in the car before. Like those things don't just hard up overnight, okay? Those things take a minute. So I don't know if this was like the situation of like the sisters in the traveling pants, but this chicken nugget must have got around if no one picked it up for that long.
Someone else's itinerary was check-in at 9, chicken at 10.
I hate that joke so much. I could taste coffee in my nose.
And then another really cool thing that happened, other than the free nugget, another really cool thing that happened was when we got to South Carolina, we decided to stay at one of those. So South Carolina has a historic, the town we stayed in. I'm not going to say the town for anonymity's sake, but
Placed under the bus.
what?
Sorry, I refused Pikesville
they
with
had
Pike
chicken.
Place,
This place
which was well, it's Kentucky, so I mean, I would be surprised if I didn't encounter chicken in one way, shape, or form.
That is fair. That is fair.
Fair. But this place I stayed in was beautiful, and I just want to. Anyway, we got there. It was in a historical district. It was a nice bed and breakfast. The house. Do you guys know who Marquis de Lafayette is? Very instrumental in the Revolutionary War. He was the basically like the French liaison.
Did he win?
We won because of him. Yes.
Oh,
a
cool.
large part to him.
I learned something.
Yeah, he was the guy who basically asked the French to help the America during the Revolutionary War. He ended up being like a secret agent for America for a while.
Then
It was really cool.
So the France said we, and then the American said, "Yeah, you guys."
Yeah, that's anyway, apparently it was a place that he stayed at. They had a bunch of his just like I was called a memorabilia, but I'm gonna call it that anyway. They had a bunch of his stuff there. It was really cool. And we got there, they were like, you guys are in this room, but we're gonna put you in the honeymoon suite. So we're like, cool.
James gonna clean some pipe. Bow chicka bow wow.
Well, speaking of pipes, the really cool thing about this room was it had a freaking jacuzzi tub in it.
Oh, nice.
So I took a really nice jacuzzi bath. It was fantastic. But yeah, that's how my weekend went. Then I did a 12-hour drive home, and I don't think I've slept right since. So yeah, and I had a full work day today. So that's how that went. Yeah,
I'd like to ask you, because I don't drive at all, and I'm somewhat proud of that. Part of the reason why is because I'm like super blind in my left eye, so like when I look through it, it's like I'm underwater. And my girlfriend has a comparable a visible disability. So if they ever come out with like a car with one wheel in the center, and both of us will take opposite sides and we'll cooperate, then maybe I'll think about it. That or self-driving cars. We're gonna go one of two ways in society. But 12 hours on the road, like.
Yes.
I have a hard time comprehending having your foot on the pedal in the depressed position for that long. Like, did your vehicle do anything to assist you in making this easier aside from?
Okay, so, yes, we took stops. I think it was every 4 hours ish to stop for like gas and stuff like that, and stretch out, maybe get a snack or something like that. But yes, the car itself, when you're on, we took the toll road, so it was mostly just straight freeway for a majority of the trip, and it's 70 miles an hour. I don't know how many that is in Canucks per A. um, so
You are on cruise control.
Yeah,
we measure in darts. I think that's about 12 darts for every Timmy's.
I don't want to be here.
But anyway, but yes, cruise control. Cruise control. Do you know what that is?
It's what they use to launch rockets.
So I asked because you said you don't drive, and so that wouldn't be a common thing for you to know. But also, I didn't want to start.
It's been a while since I heard cruise control, but essentially, like you can let the car know how fast you want to go, and the car just takes over.
Yeah, and then you just gotta keep your hand on the steering wheel, basically, or the brake, depending on if traffic's stop and go. But yeah, so yeah, it's not fun. We used to do those trips all the time when I was stationed in the military because we went to where I was stationed, and so we drive home, like back to Ohio for like Christmas and stuff like that all the time. So that was my weekend.
Joseph, how was your weekend?
Finally had a chance to go do something. Girlfriend and I went out on the first date in like quite a while. Toronto Botanical Gardens, flowers, walk in the park. Very, very, very nice and relaxing. So that's kind of the highlight for me. Other than that, it's just like grinding it out, the drill. Still trying to figure out how to deal with the vaccination issue. I'm thinking I might change my gender to vaccinated, because then I think that might be a foolproof way of getting everybody off my back. So if I identify as vaccinated, I think that might actually work. So,
hey, what perfect time to do it than now, right? Mm-hmm. We're canceling everything else. Why not?
It was nice. So I got mine, and Ohio just recently opened everything back up for vaccinated people, basically. So it was really nice. I haven't had to wear a mask at work and all that. And then I took my vacation down south, and I don't think COVID ever happened down south, or at least that's what they think. So I truly haven't worn my mask in over a week, and it's been fantastic.
Dude, that experience right there. So I went to Walmart the other day. Me and Brent, she got home for a little bit, and we went to Walmart. And we brought our masks in because my family just being in the hospital, I don't want to be there. So I went, you know what? I'm just taking safety precautions. Me and her put ours on, and we walk inside. No one's wearing it. It's like nothing happened. The shield guards and the cash registers, gone. Masks, gone. Everything. It's just like nothing happened. There's hand sanitizer out like normal, gloves, masks. I'm like,
well, in America, over 60% of Americans have gotten the first dose of the vaccine, at least.
I'm in that 40%. I have not.
But that's fine. But because here's the thing, I don't want it to get political, but if enough Americans get vaccinated, then the people who aren't vaccinated shouldn't have an issue, as long as the ones that are around. Or you know what I mean? Like that's all I can really say about that, because I am uneducated about the fact. All I know is I got mine, mostly for the fact that my work, there's a rumor that it's going to be mandatory. So
it's free anyways, and might as well just get it while you can.
Well, yeah, and I like being able to pay for my bills and house and stuff like that. I enjoy frivolous things in life.
Makes sense.
Yeah. You know who else might be living? Oh, sorry. Did you forget to continue talking?
I was real fast because I wanted to real fast just state I did have a fun experience last weekend, and I got to my favorite channel, the one that I pretty much idol, put me in their content last week, and it was an amazing experience. Even though it didn't shout my channel out or nothing like that, it was an amazing experience. I want to sit there and put that out there because I'm super excited about it. My face was on their channel, so I was just super excited about it.
Awesome. Congrats, man.
That's
Nice.
all I wanted to say. James, what are we talking about today?
Hey guys, this podcast is brought to you by Anchor. Have you heard of it? If you haven't, let me tell you guys. Anchor is an all-in-one platform to make your podcast. They have everything set up just for you. They've helped us out so many times, and they are the ones we are using to this day. Guys, Anchor has all the creative tools you need to get your podcast started, from your phone to your PC. You name it, they got it. And you can make money immediately with no minimum listenership needed. That sounds like a pretty good deal, but now you still have distribution. No, you don't. Anchor takes care of that for you. You could be heard on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and so many more. I don't know what you're waiting for. It's all-in-one platform made just for you. Anchor makes it easy. Jordan, where do I find this? Where do I go? Let me tell you. You can go to anchor.fm or download the Anchor app. That is Anchor, ANCHOR.FM, and download the Anchor app today. Thank you, Anchor, for sponsoring the podcast.
Well, we're going to talk about things. And one of those things we're going to talk about this week is something that we foreshadowed a couple months ago.
Again?
Another one on the list.
Another one on the list. So if you remember, we extensively covered the whole Microsoft Bethesda thing, right? About Bethesda being bought up by Microsoft. And then we even speculated, like, could this mean that Bethesda's going to start being an Xbox exclusive? Because Bethesda's behind games such as Fallout, the Elder Scrolls series, etc., etc. Well, Bethesda is apparently working on a new game. It is a sci-fi RPG, a role-playing game, called StarField. And guess what, gents? It is going to be exclusive to PC and Xbox. Just like we predicted. Now, my question to you folks is that StarField is a brand new series that they are starting. Brand new game. So why not do that for this? Because they don't know if it's going to be a hit or not. My question to you is, do you see this going forward with any new releases that may or may not happen with the Fallout series or the Elder Scrolls series or anything like that? Both are.
It's possible, but I don't know. I just don't see these kinds of exclusivity deals lasting forever. On the part of the developer and on the part of the publisher, it's too much potential money lost to have the game ported over to a comparable system like the PlayStation. That's just a huge market, and you have to imagine that when developers are sinking so much money, and publishers too are sinking so much money into making these games, in order to justify some of that cost, you have to think of what are all the potential groups of people that can buy it. PC, yeah. Xbox, check. PlayStation, check. The cost to port it to another system is far lower than having to develop a whole new game from scratch. So I don't see it lasting forever. But I think you get about, like, I'd say like 6 months to a year where that exclusivity really matters. After that, most people don't care. They've got their, you get like some hardcore people, but but for the most part, people are like ready to, they're happy to just play whatever game comes next. What burns people though is if, for instance, this goes way back to Resident Evil 4. Everybody thought Resident Evil 4 was going to be a GameCube exclusive, including the director of it, Shinji Mikami. And I remember reading in an interview, he says, definitely not. It is a GameCube exclusive. Well, don't they eventually announce that it's going to be on other systems before the game has ever come out? they did. People felt kind of burned about that. So that was also a time where I think console loyalty and brand loyalty had more significance. I don't think that those loyalty wars matter as much now, but I'm also not 13, so I don't know what's going through their minds. But yeah, I give it the 6 months to a year, and they don't care. The only other point is, if for instance you have like a long running series, like say Halo, for instance, and Halo starts appearing on the PlayStation, that can burn people because there's such a legacy and an association with Halo and that system. So that could be a sticking point, but otherwise, just matter of. My prediction is it's going to be a matter of when.
Now, to counter, just a food for thought here, Microsoft gave Bethesda a pretty penny for those rights. Do you think that any money lost to being exclusive could be made up in the sale that was made for them?
It could, and I think that would have to do with how many games end up being released. I guess the more games that they put out, the more potential sales they're missing out on. Whereas if it's only like a couple of games and it falls under their projected profits selling it to the PlayStation, then they're fine. But if they become they're not Bethesda, they have a great reputation, but they're not the most prolific when it comes to releasing games. We haven't had Skyrim came out like 7 years ago, 8 years ago. So
longer, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah. So I can see that. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I played Skyrim on, I think, every device starting from the Xbox 360.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Jordan? What's going through that ginormous pea brain of yours?
Well, thank you for announcing how big my brain is.
Brain.
Honestly, for one, I think they're going to change their minds real quick. Because we already talked about all this cross-play happening, cross-platform. Now they want to make a new series. They want to make a new game series and make it exclusively for Xbox or PC, or Xbox and PC. They're going to do something with Sony, and especially we go back to a few weeks ago when we talked about Sony is collabing a little bit more with the PC, and now we know Discord is going to be on the PlayStations as well. So I don't see this outcome for this game being an Xbox and PC exclusive to make much sense if they continue to go this route. So I think they're not going to add Nintendo. I'm not saying Nintendo is involved, but I do think they're going to open it back up to let PlayStation back in. Because it would be stupid to say, you can play PlayStation games on the PC, but you can't play this game on it as well. Like, you can't play this on your PlayStation, but you can play it on your PC. I don't see them doing that. I don't think this is going to last much longer. The exclusive, like Halo, Gears of War, Last of Us, those are games I'm going to see continue to stay because they started that way. They're going to stay that way. But we also see Konami. Konami changed that as well. They were solely set on PlayStation, releasing Silent Hill for PlayStation. Now we have them on the Xbox. Now we have it on PC. So, but I don't think this game is going to be a success if they continue to release it only on Xbox and PC.
All right.
I rest my case.
Sometimes I think like if for instance Zelda were announced to be on the Xbox or on the PlayStation 5, I feel like the worst part of that for me would be all of my friends texting me, telling me it happened as if I wasn't the first to find out. People are like, are you going to be okay, Joseph? I'm like, is the game going to run better on that system? Because I think I might just get it there.
If that happens, dude, they're going to have my money. Like, I just found like a bunch of old Zelda games for like Game Boy, Nintendo 3DS. I'm finding all these ones. I'm just like, oh, I can't wait to play all these Zeldas. Like, I've never played all of them, and hearing you guys talk so much about them, I'm just so eager to play them. And hell, maybe stream them. Like, just maybe sit down one day and just stream them.
I will say, you have to play Ocarina of Time on a console.
Really?
Agreed.
Why is that?
Yes. It one, the original feeling, like you want to feel the way the developer wanted you to feel.
Okay.
And two, I genuinely think it's just a lot more comfortable to play that kind of game not on handheld.
Okay. I'm
Hard
fine
to
with
be
going either
instilled
way.
with the adventurous spirit if one is just looking at it on a handheld versus having it be on your TV. And well, I mean, first time you enter Hyrule Field, you'll be glad you were sitting on a couch.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I'll definitely do it then.
But yeah, Ocarina of Time is one you have to play. And if you have to go out and buy a Nintendo 64 or wait or go out and buy a Switch when it comes out on the Switch, or if you have to cheat and find an emulator ROM for it.
No.
Although Nintendo's been really good at cracking down on ROMs because they've been releasing their own. So
I'll say this, I have a 64 in my living room. I'm getting Mario Party 2, I think it is. So,
Ooh.
I'm going to be having some fun.
you have a Nintendo 64?
Oh yeah. That's the only console Brittany plays. So that's
Then
yeah.
you have to get it. You have to get
Okay.
Ocarina of Time for that.
I
If
sure
If you
will.
win.
find a used copy and the first file is KEXODFRM, that's mine. After I got my GameCube, I gave my Nintendo 64 and the 14 games with the system, many of which were some of the best games on the system. Both Zeldas, Mario 64, Mission Impossible, and for some reason they lost it. The system disappeared, the games disappeared, and I just don't know how they could have lost it instead of sold it to make bank. Like, it might still be there. Could still be there.
Dude,
Also,
that's
if you buy a
terrible.
game, the file, the save name says Ben Drowned. I'd recommend probably don't play that one.
Okay, I do this all the time, and I don't get the joke. By the way, just want to put that out there. I
I'll
actually do
explain
not
it in a
get the
minute. I'll
joke.
explain it in a minute.
So, anytime I will sit there and buy a game, like, and okay, I understand some of our generation might not understand what we're talking about because they're like, you have to make your own account. I don't understand it, guys. When you guys were younger, your parents needed something to do. They would play that. They would steal your old consoles, and you just never knew. But you would have these game cartridges like megabytes. Megabytes. They were big back then. If you had a megabyte hard drive, you were going somewhere. And what? No, I was thinking more like 16.8 megabytes. And so you had to save your games constantly on the game itself. It was not something you could take out a card and all that. The game's memory is what you had. So if you could buy a game or have your friend give you the game and it has their profile on it. So that being said, I would delete everyone. Like if I don't care if I load it up, I won't be like, I want to see. It's the immediate delete because I'm immediately thinking, I don't know who this guy is. I don't care who this guy is. I get pleasure in this. Delete. It's the greatest feeling to me. Delete someone's progress. All their hard work. It's just gone.
They say energy is never removed; it's only relocated. Well, whoever said that obviously didn't lose their Donkey Kong file, one banana away from completion.
That is true. I lost my Pokemon progress many times.
Yeah.
Many times. But that reference you brought up, that person's name, what is that about?
It's a creepypasta.
Oh, okay. Dude, I've been getting into Mr. Nightmare recently. He does a lot of creepypasta, but yeah. Whew.
He's good.
He's really good. You know what else is good?
The fact that I have AT&T as my self-service provider, and they are about to acquire Discovery Plus.
Oh
Now,
my god!
Before we get into the story, I have to let you guys know my personal bias towards this entire story. I am a
Ryan
consumer.
Stelter wrote this. So I just know him for being like, you know, the guy.
Yeah,
just,
I'm going to be upfront. It's a CNN article. I don't go to CNN usually, but I saw this article, and it didn't look biased. So like, you can't really be biased in a situation like this. So I okayed it. Anyway, so AT&T is my cell service provider. And I am also a consumer of Discovery Plus because it has a whole bunch of channels. Like I watch Food Network, I watch HGTV, I watch ID channel, I watch all that stuff, and that's all on Discovery Plus, so it's perfect. Um, I also just upgraded my cell phone plan through AT&T, so I became a premium member, and they gave me HBO Max for free. So that was really cool. And now it seems like I'm going to be able to save even more money because with this acquisition of Discovery Plus, it seems like this is going to be another deal they could add onto their plans where you can get Discovery Plus for free with it, which is going to be nice. And not only is that nice, but one of the biggest issues I think we have as consumers is that, like, in my case, I'll use me as a personal example. I don't have cable or satellite or anything like that. I think it's a waste of money when I have all these streaming services and I can watch stuff on demand. So I use streaming services, but the problem with streaming services is that now every single channel is trying to get their own, and they each have exclusive rights to certain shows. So like 8 years ago, Netflix was like the premier one if you wanted to watch good movies and stuff like that, and then you had Hulu if you want to watch good or great TV shows, and that's where it stopped for the most part. And then as the years go by, more and more streaming services popped up.
Shout out Tubi TV. I really wanted to rewatch the Hunter x Hunter anime, and Tubi TV delivered.
Oh, I might
I gotta sit through a few ads, but that's okay. I actually, because I use the Brave browser, I could activate my shields and skip the ads, but I said no. I'm gonna support these guys.
As you should.
Good.
I support these guys by paying the extra $3 or whatever it is to not get the ads. So I hate ads.
The
I
rich for my blood.
do.
See, I mean, obviously, I'm like the e-commerce guy here, but I genuinely enjoy advertising as a creative outlet. It's somebody tries to convey a message in a short amount of time. There's still ads that I remember seeing as a kid that cracked me up, and I still think about them. So like, there could be shows that are disingenuous. I mean, there's plenty of crap TV, but just the same, at least there are ads that can be entertaining, and yeah. So yeah. Doesn't bother me that people say they hate him. I get it. I get it.
I don't mind ads for the fact it's like, oh, I could go to the bathroom without having to pause. But when I'm sitting there and I'm trying to binge watch a show like the lazy person I am, I don't want to be interrupted constantly. But yeah, there's so many streaming services that you might as well be paying for cable at that point if you go to buy them all. So what I think this is I think this adds another route for people who have this self-service provider to kind of save a few more bucks and be able to get just as much content, if not now more content, if they previously weren't a subscriber to Discovery Plus.
Quick
Which I
anecdote
recommend,
for you, by the way.
Say again?
So, well, quick anecdote. Anecdote. They're building more buildings in my area. The construction is constant. They really want to turn this place around. There are already 3 weed stores, no more than 10 minutes between me and my grocery store. Now, I'm brand loyal, so I'm not going to try out the other 2, but still, that's a lot of weed stores. They were digging, they struck our internet cable, and we were out of internet for a day, and I actually lost a recording. I had to email his assistant, and hopefully that assistant got the message to him, and he didn't. Poor the guy, by the way, didn't show up for the previous 3 recordings, but the time that I'm out of commission for the first time in my life. Anyways, the reason why I bring this up is because try living a day without the internet. It ain't easy. I mean, granted, it's a little artificial because we also aren't allowed to go do anything else. But like I had a lot of things because so much of my living habit had been associated with what I do on the internet. So I'm actually slowly starting to see the appeal again and having an alternative content stream. And if cable, satellite, whatever, can actually provide a decent enough value proposition, and it can be, viewed on my monitor that I have here, or maybe even somehow like Bluetooth onto my phone, there actually is some viable market value to it. My internet doesn't get gutted very often, but yeah. Sorry, one more thing. I know you're almost ready to go. One more thing. It is important to keep in mind that with the internet is also utility. So it is protected, I think, a lot more, especially now that people understand that people work remote. And so the internet is essential for people doing their jobs. So there's that, but still, yeah, I'm seeing the value in cable again.
Well, that I wanna ask then. So, do you think now? Let's say in a magical situation, this actually happened. Your power is fine, but you have no cable, no internet, and you're trapped inside. What would you do for the rest? Like, do you guys have something
you know
that
what?
you can do?
Hold on.
Yeah, I keep
Let's
working on my
hold on.
anti.
Love that answer, Jordan. I
Awesome.
want you to pocket that.
Okay.
I think that's gonna be our all timer later.
Okay. Okay. Well, we know Joseph.
I'll have to come up with a serious answer. Ooh.
It's not gonna be the same.
Um,
But back on AT&T though, that's cool. I'm with T-Mobile, so I'm like a fighter. I'm a pink
boo,
fighter.
Everyone boo, Jordan, boo. That's my new gimmick,
Boo.
by the way, that I'm trying. So you guys know I went to wrestling training for approximately 2 months before pandemic hit.
I actually didn't know
And
that.
okay, well, a big thing about that is obviously character development.
Mhm.
And now I just joke around all the time. With like whenever I do something, I was like, it's my new gimmick. That's what I'm doing. And the new one I started a couple months ago is just I boo things I don't like, or just boo things that deserve booed. And so that's my new thing. I got my wife in on
I
it sometimes.
kind of had like an idea for a wrestling gimmick where like the more my beard grows out, the more like friendly and jovial I become, and then as soon as somebody irritates me, it cuts to me like.
I love it. I love it. I need that to happen. I've taken acting classes, a little like some online acting classes, because I'm not funny, obviously.
That was very obvious.
Yeah, I know, right? And so they were saying like make a character, make a character. And my number one favorite character to do is an old man. And it's not any old man. It's this old man that is just not caring about anything. He's just like, "Oh, who's this guy? Oh, hey, little boy. You want some candy?"
I
He
just want to
just
say,
doesn't care.
he sounds like he's very in touch with the kids.
Whoa! Yeah, he goes to church. He's a pastor.
I would say the Catholic Church.
If you can't take a joke, get off the podcast. Okay, if you can't take a joke, just leave.
Oh, my computer just tried to tell me to update. Go away.
If James disappears, he has an update. Hang on.
And for those of you, by the way, who are like, man, I'll never come up with a character. Sooner or later, you'll see a character on a video or a pro show or something that you'll be able to like unlock a voice. When they were promoting the 3DS, they came out with this little web series called Dinosaur Office. It's cute and funny, but there was this one character as a brontosaurus who's like the annoying coworker archetype. Hey, I noticed you need to reset your GPU. Ever since then, I adopted the voice of somebody who takes way too long to explain things. At the time, I went 6 months without sleep. Because here's the thing, my dad would work the night shift and he'd come back and he'd make himself a cup of coffee. So by the time the coffee was rolling through, I'd come back from my night shift and it would be just way too much coffee smell. And then next thing I know, I'm over caffeinated. And I think, well, I'm already up, so I guess I'll just live the rest of the day. Anyways, this went on for 6 months before I confronted my dad and said, this has really started to impact my ability to operate heavy machinery. I screwed part of that, by the way. I hadn't done that routine in a while. I screwed up a major part that was not canon, but you get the idea.
Good job.
You know what?
Thanks.
Yeah, it was a shoot. I like it.
He was working the night shift. So he would get home and his dad would make the coffee. And the dad didn't work the night shift. That's why practice your routines, by the way, people.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you a story about that while James fixes this.
Okay.
So when I was in college, we had an acting teacher and they wanted us to do monologues, and I was just like a hypersensitive 17-year-old, and I was just in such like this vulnerable state because I had confessed my love to somebody like the day before college started.
Yeah.
I was just not in a good place, and I was just like desperate for approval anywhere I could get. And the character that I did a monologue for was Mr. Pink from Reservoir Dogs. I didn't nail it. And I was so like caught up about that because that was my favorite character from my favorite movie. So over the years, I would continue to practice that monologue just at a random. And then one day, so my friend Gabriel, who is my guardian angel, like legit, he and I are meeting at the Toronto, our biggest library downtown, like the central hub of libraries, and he's auditioning for a role for a student film, and that role, Mr. Pink. Because in college and in film, they do these things called suites, where you'll like try to recreate a scene from a film.
Yeah.
And so he didn't see the movie, so he didn't understand the nuance to Mr. Pink's character or anything like that. So I asked him politely, says, "Look, I don't really do this, but do you mind if I read for the role?" And he's like, "Yeah. It's all good." And then right into it, I had been practicing Mr. Pink for years, and I just
Pays off.
and. So they gave me the part. It wasn't big or anything. We're just recreating one scene, but it was one of my favorite memories to just sit at the table dressed as Mr. Pink, and everybody else is dressed as the other Reservoir Dog characters, and we just spent the day shooting the breeze, and it was just like such a great experience. So if you're passionate about a character, just like hammer it out on your own time because you never know.
Exactly.
I can't hear you, James.
James, you're muted.
Said I am back. By the way.
Oh,
Okay.
welcome back. Welcome back.
Thank you.
So what's in the news?
My wife called and said, "Hey, why didn't you answer your phone?" And then said, "Hey, I'm recording." And then she said, "Oh, okay, bye." And then just hung up.
So wait, you picked up the phone. And she said,
called
"Hey,
me
why
once
don't you answer
before,
your
yeah.
phone?" Yeah, but
It's
Yeah.
a double entendre. Is that how you use the word right? Double entendre.
no, it was a
That's
paradox.
Oh,
Because if I pick up the phone and she says, "Why don't you answer your phone?"
it's like
well,
you just did. That makes. James,
All right, let me
I'm
know
gonna
when
have
you
to
want-
fire your wife, okay, for being your
All right.
husband. It's gonna have to happen. Next
hold
time
on,
she
wait,
interrupts
wait.
this, next time she interrupts this production, I'm gonna have to fire her. She's
You
out.
just said you were going to fire. I don't. What are you doing?
I run Sony. I don't make no sense on what I say, okay? I take back.
My dad works at Microsoft. He'll have your account banned.
my uncle works at Nintendo. I can tell you who's going to be in the next Smash Brothers.
Luigi.
You're gonna pay for this.
By the way,
Okay.
it is a crime that they have not put in. I already said this, but they have not put a new Zelda character in since Brawl.
Why would
Come
they?
on.
Why would they? They have plenty more sword characters to go through.
They need Impa from Hyrule Warriors with the Naginata would be perfect, but no, they needed Sephiroth.
I like Sephiroth.
Sephiroth.
Actually, the reason why Sephiroth annoys me is because of his name, because the shorthand is Seph, and I'm like,
Oh, okay.
crap. So yeah,
See, I'm
All right,
good.
let me know when you want to clap us back in.
I thought this was all on the show.
We will see what we could do and edit. I definitely want your clip in there with you talking about it. So, James, whenever you want to start us back in.
Oh, so we're just kind of going. Oh, cool.
Dude, we're having a good time. We're having a good
All right.
time.
Well, I just need to anyway. Also in the news, shout out Keemstar. So, as you all know, our beloved favorite internet browser is Internet Explorer.
No,
Well, unfortunately, it's
Mine is
called-
Brave, but Internet Explorer has been a sidekick for many years.
Absolutely,
Like I do
always
use Internet Explorer quite a bit.
Oh, well then, like, you're not being satirical here. You're not or facetious. You're being legit.
It's always been a backup Explorer. In fact, I have it open right now.
Oh, well then you're really not gonna like what I'm about to tell you. So Microsoft has announced that it is officially killing off Internet Explorer. It is going to stick with its current new browser, Microsoft Edge. So Internet Explorer will no longer.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's the one I've been using.
You probably be
Yeah,
using
I'm using Edge. Okay, never mind. We're good.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, they're killing it off. cool. I think nobody's used Internet Explorer in a while. Even like government computers have switched off of Internet Explorer. So like,
They're actually all using crypto-based web browsers as well.
Hope so.
I hope so. So Microsoft is killing Internet Explorer.
yeah, that's all that really is. I was gonna ask your opinions, but I don't think this actually hits anyone too close to home.
Oh no,
Yeah,
not at all.
I'm just like, I didn't even realize I mean, there was a number of things I didn't realize in the span of the last 15 seconds, but I would have thought that with Edge being their main browser, that Internet Explorer already didn't exist, and it was just like rebranded and renamed to Edge. So
I think it was more so just they finally decided to quit taking up server space with it.
okay,
I think that's what it was. I think you're right. I don't even think it was used or anything. I think it was just on their server space, and then they're just like, well, we have Edge now.
Yeah, because one of the things that, like, when I built my computer, so when I built it all up and turned it on and installed Windows, Internet Explorer was on there, but so was Microsoft Edge. And where did I go? I sat there, went on Microsoft Edge, went, okay, sign in, downloaded Chrome, got off, and then just started using Chrome. Now, that was also when I was using petty web browsers like Chrome. Now I use ones I know where my data is getting sold to. So it is great. Like that's the biggest selling point for me. I want to know if I'm earning anything and where is my data being sold. That's what I just want to know. I don't care what you see, what I search. But bye-bye Internet Explorer.
Yeah, speaking of edging, our final topic for tonight. It has to do with I was waiting for a reaction. I never got one about the whole edging joke, but we're gonna move on.
Nah, skip.
All right, I'll explain it to you guys when you're older.
I had a joke, but at the last second, I decided not to say it.
You know what? James already made this happen. What's your joke?
You actually called me out.
Yeah, I called you out. No,
I have a joke. That's that was the joke. Edging, you get like to the.
Joseph, I think Jordan's too innocent for that.
Should I have came back? Should I have even come back? Okay, this is my last podcast I'm ever gonna be on.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be here. I'm too young for this. Okay, James, what are we talking about today?
They're talking about edging.
At least we're not talking about pegging.
Oh wait, I actually did have a joke though. I was gonna say, oh, we've been edging our way to the last one. You know, it's like when someone's like edging, they're gradually moving towards it. I did have that, but it was so awful. I like your first
joke better.
Yeah.
Jordan, we'll explain it to you after the show. Don't worry.
Thanks, Dad.
My dog has to go potty, and I'm gonna take him out because we're so close to being done.
Okay.
Anyway, so if you guys remember, a few years ago, Redbox decided to add video games to their on-demand or on-site on-demand service. Well, now apparently Netflix is trying to get into that game of renting video games. I assume it would work kind of like how Stadia would work. They would host it on their servers, and you kind of just play it through there, or they would mail it to you like GameFly used to. I don't think that one's more viable though. But yeah, it's just interesting that people because renting video games, I think, has been kind of like a niche market the past couple of years, but there really hasn't been many options for it. So, how do you guys see this go now? Do you think this is a smart move by Netflix, or do you think this is a ditch effort trying to get back into the mainstream of things?
I think it's a bad idea. If you see a company literally try to do the same thing, and it dies, like they gave up on Google Stadia. And I would imagine because the mail service, we're trying to be in this day and age, the mail service is gone. You don't get your physical mail anymore, apparently. And they're not going to ship games to you to rent. And Netflix originally got started from pretty much being like a Redbox situation. Like you would mail in your stuff. I'm pretty certain. I'm not 100% sure about that. But I understand in the business world, we all go by, don't be the first, don't be the last. But I don't know if that's a good idea for Netflix because they've gotten in so much hot water. I don't think if they do this, that's a great idea. After being in so much hot water constantly, it's not every now and then. They're in a hot tub, okay? Like, they're never getting out of all the stuff they continue to do. And now they're saying, hey, we watched a business die just a couple months ago from this. Let's do it again. Like, that's not a good... Now, I understand they're doing the whole business thing, don't be the first, don't be the last. They might be the last, though, because not a lot of people are doing it for a reason.
Yeah, what about you, Jess? What do you think?
I don't really find it all that appealing. What I can see working though will depend on what kind of games they're gonna go for. There's the two things people do on Netflix: A, they watch content, or B, they spend an hour scanning through all the content. Just I don't know, just to discover what's potentially out there, but never actually making a decision. If I were to make a strategy for this, I think I would make it more arcadey. Going to one of the great things about going to a physical arcade is that there are a number of experiences, all of which I can get into and promptly get kicked out of because they get very hard very quickly. And maybe there's like one or two that I take to, and then I want to start playing a little bit more. So that would be an advantage, just streaming like more digestible games, smaller arcade stuff. But other than that, like you, I don't subscribe to Netflix anymore. I'll cave for a month or two to watch the next season of Cobra Kai, and that's it. So yeah, and we talked about streaming before. I've never been a fan of like being able to play my games via stream. I still won't be a fan of it until it is really truly that seamless. Which we're close, but I still give it another 10 years before that kind of technology is that reliable.
Not only that, but how much longer do we have until they take away physical copies of games to begin with? You know what I mean?
I hope they don't do that.
When they're available, for the cheaper version, you could go ahead and buy the new Xbox and new PS5 without a disc tray, like where it's only digital only.
I mean, in the Switch's case, they went back to cartridges, and the cartridges are tiny, and I can confirm that they do taste quite bitter.
I was just about to say they taste awful.
Yeah, I think for people who want that the collection, there always should be some kind of physical media. But if because the content is all produced and distributed digitally, that actually opens up the freedom to provide different kinds of physical media. I think like amiibos, for instance, are a good indicator of what the future of physical media will look like. Just to focus on the joy of collecting physical product rather than have to buy discs and buy cartridges and be terrified for like, oh no, I dropped a disc on the floor and now it's got a chicken nugget on it.
Bring it right back to that nugget. Yeah, let's go. Woo!
James, where do you keep your Mario amiibo? Oh, it's over by the nugget.
On the floor, pre-used.
Now, that was our last news story. I think it's time we go into our all-timer segment.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
This, ladies and gentlemen, is the segment where we discuss our all-timer least or favorite things. And in this case, we're discussing our all-timer favorite thing to do when we don't have internet or cable. Basically, if you were in a room with no power, what would you do?
No power?
Let's just imagine like your food isn't gonna go bad. No power, no internet, no cable, and you're in your house. You know what would you do? Like an example, I have my room. You know, if I'm trapped in here, what would I do?
Well, I see something in the back corner that would end your problem real fast.
I'm assuming you're talking about the thing on my right that's over there, But
Yes.
yeah, I'm entertained by an easy amount of things. Since I got some ready to fly, I will just go ahead and take the lead. I actually have a huge, massive collection of Legos, and I love to build because it keeps my mind focused on stuff. So I would sit there and play with those. I do a bunch of board games and magic cards and stuff like that. So I would do a lot of like those activities. But if I'm by myself, I would be like doing stuff from like my magic cards, something where I can like be physical with. Or I do a lot of I work out. I also do card throwing. So I'll just practice that kind of stuff. But if I would I would go insane because my work is so important to me. I would go insane, but in an idea of like, could I not pretty much just go, whoo? Yeah, I would be fine. I would find ways to deal with the situation.
How long is this power outage?
We'll say
24
48 hours. 48 hours.
40, yeah. Okay.
2 days. Because I think anybody could really last 1 day.
Yeah. All right. So I got my Magic the Gathering cards. I would bust those out and maybe
Nice.
just do some hypothetical games where like I pit my decks against each other. Maybe practice shuffling, because shuffling is important in that game.
Oh,
You got to
yeah.
get your shuffles right, because then otherwise
Big
your
time.
mana is poorly distributed. So I would do that. I would use it as an opportunity to clean, organize, try to get. Obviously I can't vacuum, but like fix my shelves, see if anything can be even tossed away or traded. So I would clean. I guess the main thing I would focus on is probably bust out my different notepads and journals and just do self-authoring, maybe plan what to do when my power comes back on, see if I can like go through all my previous daily agendas and see if there's any tasks that kind of got buried, and so like update everything. It's helpful to me to have like a big list of tasks, because then that way I can like, okay, what's the most important thing here? Okay, I do this. Go back to it. What's the most important thing? I do that. In theory, anyways. So clean, write for sure. Definitely try to write as much as I can. Magic the Gathering, and then after that, probably just go for a walk. Go for a nice langu waku.
See, that's pretty reasonable. Real fast, James, before you go ahead, that's another thing you guys talked about. You guys brought up Magic cards and Pokemon cards while I wasn't here. You guys was talking about the Black Lotus being. I was like, wait, someone has Magic the Gathering experience here? What are we talking about here? Talking about the Black Lotus is the most valuable card, and card shop owners would be proud to have it displayed. Oh, I wanted to be here last week. I'm never leaving again. Nah, I'm never leaving. But James, what about you? What would you do?
If someone tried to turn my power off, I would simply intervene. But I'm just built different. Anyway, if they did succeed and cut off my power, I'm with you. I'd probably do Legos. I'd probably exercise. I have a huge book collection downstairs. I have a big bookshelf, so I'd probably read. Because my time is so filled with other things, I never actually sit down and just write. What that would entail, I don't know. Whether it be writing short stories, whether it be writing a script, whether it be something. But that's something that's always interested me. But it's always just like, I have other things occupying my time.
See, I think that would be the hardest part, is just like, we can't actually try this because we have so much going on.
Oh, I'll go snip my power right now.
Oh, yeah, let's go do it.
Power outage for charity.
Power outage for charity, guys. 24 hours without power. Zoom.
That would be fun, but I'd have to set some conditions, like being allowed to cook.
Yeah. Like,
Oh,
I would do it if like I
stove
can
is
film
electric.
everything. So
My stove is electric, so
also, I feel like that could be something fun.
Here's the deal: I'd probably sleep a lot more.
Yep.
Like if I'm being honest, like it'd be like 7 o'clock at night. I'm like, well, I mean, I have blackout curtains. I can make it dark in here. I have no power. What am I gonna do? And then
Exactly. Like, I'm putting like all these ideas on like all this stuff. Honestly, when it's all said and done, I'm gonna sleep. Like, if it's just me, I'm just gonna work out, eat, sleep, and probably write out on, like Joseph said, like kind of write out like what to do when it comes back on, because I'm such a busy person. Like if the internet goes out for an hour, I'm losing my mind. I'm like, I'm falling behind. I got to do this. I got to figure out what I can replace to get this done for the day. Like I'm so important on the, or not, I'm not important on the internet, but like I need the internet to be important. So it's just, I couldn't imagine. But like for a video or something like that, I would do it. Like 24 hours without power. I'm going to start the new trend. Floor is lava. I got it.
So
I think even just calling it the internet kind of denigrates the importance of it. It's why, like, in my mind, it's like online. I need to be online.
Yeah.
Most of my efficiency is online.
Yeah, because even like having the computer, even if I'm not like on the internet, like I still need it because that's where my notes are. That's where everything is. Now I do keep hard copies, but if I'm talking to you guys, like last week, James said he wasn't gonna be on here. I didn't write it down on a sheet of paper. I wrote it down on a notepad on my computer because it makes sense. I'm on the computer right now. I'll write it down there. But like I have Post-it notes all throughout my room on like what I need to do, just because I need to know, like reminders. Like they're all scattered out through my whole entire office. They're pink because I ran out of green. They come in a 3-pack.
Do I have time to pitch another question, or we got to go?
Yeah, go for it, Arn.
Okay, so let's say, for instance, that we can't do. This is more for Jordan, because I don't know how much of your job entails being on the internet, but like, let's say, for instance, you can't work on the internet anymore, and you gotta find something else to do. How would you? How badly would the internet affect you, and like what would you do? I'll answer first, because just to give you a second to stew. But for me, I would get into two things, the degree to which remains to be seen. But like background acting, I did background acting for about 3 years, and it was very difficult at times because some of the hours were grueling. Like if it's a night scene, we're gonna be there shooting until daybreak. So in the cold. So it can get pretty grueling, but there's also been times where I got to sit in the back of a limousine and be fed cheese. So like it's a give and take.
All right.
So I would do that as much as I can. And then if I need to make up any, like if I need to make sure the bills are paid and I'm not quite getting as many gigs as I need, I would go back to being a grocery boy. Keeps me active. I'm meeting people. Strengthens my OCD. So that would be my my plan B, or plan C actually. Plan B is fall back on editing, but that's with the internet, so it doesn't count.
Yeah, that's fair. Because the hard part for me would be is like even the things I would do, like it will require like the internet in the sense, because like my fallback if YouTube doesn't work out, it's to be an actor, because that's something I want to do. But the only way for me to get there is to get online and do like voice acting gigs and stuff like that. I'm not in a populated area. I could just go down the road 30 minutes and there's a whole entire studio where I can audition. There's not that. So I could once again just say, you know what, I'll go and do like Lyft and stuff. That would be, once again, because no matter what, I want to be self-employed. And that's a big thing. So I think I'll just try to start my own business somehow, because being self-employed and being able to make your hours and be able to just know what you're doing, you be your boss. And it's not, I don't take orders well. I will 100%. I'm always like a team spirit. I always work well with the team, and I'm okay with being told what to do. But being able to decide, if something's too risky, and especially if something's too not safe to go out and do, I can tell myself, no. If I don't feel safe about going out here, I shouldn't have to go out there. But I think what I would end up doing is I would want to be around people. I would work at a coffee shop. Like, it's something I love. I love drinking coffee, especially little fancies coffees. I love art, so I could start working on designs and stuff like that in the coffee. And I get to meet people. And it gives me a good reason to stay in shape. You don't see a fat barista anywhere. So, I mean, like, thinking about it, I haven't seen an overweight person serve me coffee. Not even at a Starbucks. And I don't know what that is.
Like,
but
I'll go to a Starbucks, and there's like 7 people working there. There might be some,
they
some more
keep them in the back.
rotund people, but no.
Boo.
Oh, hush up. James, what would you do? I don't know
well,
what you do. I know you're a mechanic of some sorts.
No, not at all. If the internet went out of my work, I would simply just not be able to email. I would still be able to do paperwork and stuff like that. So I would simply fax the paperwork.
Nerd.
Well, speaking of nerds, I think you
Yeah.
nerds are about done with today. So
Dude, sure am. I made some homemade cauliflower mashed potatoes to eat. Whoa.
boo.
Yeah. How about you sell yourself out?
All right. I'll let Joseph go first. How about that?
Okay.
Sure. So y'all know what? Well, unless this is your first time listening to the episode, in which case, hey, I cannot imagine what kind of impression I left with you today. Anyways, my nexus is Giant Enemy Company. You go to giantenemycompany.com and you'll see most, if not all, of what I'm involved in. There's a few missing links in there, but I gotta deal with that. And my main gig right now is I host an e-commerce podcast that occasionally gets a bit quirky, but for the most part, it's a highly insightful, and there's no less than like 182 ways that you can begin becoming an entrepreneur. And even if you don't want to like run a whole industry, you don't want to run your whole store, there's still like a number of things that you can do. So if that is of interest to you, it is ECOMONICS. And Google will tell you, don't you mean econ? I don't say it very often anymore, so I can't even say it right. But Google will tell you, are you sure you didn't mean to say it like this? Tell them no. Not this time, Google.
As you should.
Tell them
As
no.
you should. I am the architect on Twitter. I'm also the architect on YouTube, and that is the only places I want you guys finding me. If you want to find Jordan, I'm going to go ahead and sell him out because I'm going to sell out the rest of the show too. So if you want to find Jordan, he's Skull Hunter Games on Instagram too, correct?
Yeah.
So Skull Hunter Games on Instagram, he's Skull Hunter Games on YouTube, and he's Skull Hunter Games on Facebook. He's a pretty, he's streaming quite often, usually throughout the day. And sometimes he even plays with me and Joseph right here. Those
That is
are
correct.
those are the best ones. And if you want to find the video feed of this, we are on Facebook and YouTube. If you want to find us in audio land, we're on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast from. That's none of our business. Sorry, the cat is eating my leg right now. Yeah, and thank you to thank you to our sponsor, Anchor, for sponsoring this podcast. We appreciate it. If you want to get into the podcasting realm and want an easy way to do it, I recommend anchor.fm, ANCHOR.FM. Merch to come. That's exciting. We'll eventually let you know about that. You guys get nothing. And I think that's about it. So on that note, I will leave you with a bye-bye.
Goodbye, everybody!
Good night. Thank you.
Couldn't think of a funny edging joke for to end this off.